I have a confession to make, an embarrassing confession to make, but I want to get this off my chest. A number of years ago, I was working on this date down in my office, like I am right here in my little office. And one of the things that I did that day, which I often do in the morning, I grab my cup of coffee, I come down, and I'm going to I first check out kind of the news headlines. It's basically I start my day by just checking the news headlines. I don't really spend a lot of time doing it. I just see what's going on. And there at the top of the headlines was this headline that I thought, this is so cool. This is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Now, you got to understand that I grew up wanting to be an astronaut. I loved the thought of outer space. I loved the idea of going to the moon, going to the stars, that whole thing. And I ended up studying physics, in college. But anyway, so what happened was that the headline said, "Life discovered on Mars." I was so excited. I could not believe it. That I jumped up, I ran into, I guess that direction. I ran into my smoking hot wife's office, Kay, into her office, and I said, "Guess what? They found life on Mars. Isn't that amazing?" And she looked at me and she said,
"You do know this is April 1st, right?"
So I went back to the office, came back into my office, and I realized it was April Fool's. We hear stuff, like I said, I love outer space. I wanted to be an astronaut, all that stuff. I just wanted to hear something spectacular like that in my lifetime. I wanted to believe that was true. And, that happens to all of us all the time. There are certain things that we want to believe are true. And so then what do? We go out and we look for information. We look for stories, news stories, or research, or books, or people, speakers, people who espouse basically what we believe, and we look to that as being proof that our beliefs are true. In marketing, for example, we have a difficult time measuring ROI. That's one of the biggest problems that I have found marketers have. I've got a survey running right now. It's one of the big problems. I asked marketers, you might have taken part in the survey, what their number one issues were, and one of the top, I think it was either the second or third, was how to measure ROI. How to measure ROI. So. Because the problem is that most marketers have never had an education in measuring ROI. Now, I will tell you right up front, it is possible to measure ROI from marketing, but you got to know how to do it, because the only answer to successful marketing is a sale. That's all it is. It's a sale. Nothing else can define ROI as making it successful. You can't define audience. You can't define views, unique views, number of people who come into your trade show booth, number of people who subscribe to a magazine, number of people who click on a link. None of those are ROI. They are measurable steps towards ultimately achieving ROI, but they are not ROI. So the main thing for you to understand is that if you are not measuring your marketing ROI, and if you're not able to measure your marketing ROI, well, then you better get out and start to learn, because that ultimately somebody in a business, if somebody is going to say, what's our ROI? All right, we're spending how much money on marketing? How much money on advertising? How much money on promotions? How much money going to trade shows? How much money doing this? How much money doing on social media? And what am I getting in return? And if you cannot answer that question, then you are in jeopardy, and your job is in jeopardy. So you must learn how to do that. And I want you to know that I am currently working on a new program, a new marketing program. I've talked about this a little bit before. I've got a new marketing program out. Or not, it's not out. I'm working on it right now. It's going to be out, hopefully not too long. But one of the things that I'm going to do in there is I'm going to teach people how to measure their ROI. And I will probably do that actually in advance of the program. being released. I'll probably make that a free webinar for that. So how about that? How about if I just say I will make a free webinar, in the next couple of weeks after this, and you can sign up to attend this free webinar. It's free to everybody. It's not an office hours. It's just going to be a free webinar on how to measure ROI. And if you are interested in that, then please go to the link that is right below this video, or in this video. I'll have it right here, okay? And then you can sign up for that, and it'll be free. How to measure ROI in your marketing, okay? So that way, then you won't continue to be embarrassed. I don't mean continue to be embarrassed. That you won't be embarrassed by when somebody says, "Hey, how do you measure ROI?" Any more than I was embarrassed when I said there was life on Mars, and my wife said,
You do know this is April 1st, right?
Hey, this is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger. Thanks for joining me again on this week's Uncopyable Business video, this episode. I will see you again next week. And go ahead, sign up for this webinar. And until then, always remember, be uncopyable. See ya.